Right. So moving from that now, let's talk some music talk for a little bit, right? So yeah, Bando Stone and the New World. I wanted to just do like
Right.
a review of that just off the cuff, like I did last time, with my with our, I should say, Data
Yeah.
Slim Shady review. Um,
Yeah. I only give this one listen. Didn't give it
oh,
up
okay.
in depth.
All right. Well,
Yeah. So I
I
don't
gave
did
it four. That's just what I
right.
do, right? But I'll
Right.
just let you guys know, right? So like usually my first listen is just to get a feel of the record, just to know how it
Right.
feels and what it's about and all that kind of stuff. Two is just to try to listen to it without really any more in any set of distractions around me, right? Like the first
Right. Right.
listen, I just doing work. Second time is a little focus. Third time is where I pull up Genius to read lyrics, and
Right.
fourth time is just to kind of put everything together and come up with my opinion on it, right? So
Right.
my exposure, well, how I found out about this record, right? There was a trailer that dropped. I think it was like about a month or so
Well,
ago, right?
didn't he release a video? And it was like a super like disturbing dark video where it was like a kind of minstrel show kind of thing, and then it turned super dark. I was that was the same. That's part of the same album.
Oh no, 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 no. All right. So good thing to bring up that. You
Right.
found that disturbing. Okay, I thought that was kind of brilliant.
No, like it get real dark. Like if you listen to what's going on in the situation, if you follow the video, it's like, oh shit, there's like, oh, some sundown town shit going down here. Like, oh, this real dark though. Like it's typical like where Childish Gambino is go with it though.
That's
Yeah,
not.
and if you listen to the video,
You're referring to Littlefoot Bigfoot, right?
yeah,
All right. Okay. All right. Like, all right. I get where you're coming from with how dark it was, but it didn't like turn me off or anything like that. Like, but I guess it's because I am familiar with the song though. But I think the video was quite appropriate, right? But yeah,
right,
lyrically it was like dark shit, with what he's touching on. But I got the
yeah,
gist of it from the moment I heard it, right? So
yeah,
quick little backstory, right? So back in 2020, when the world shut down and we had nothing to do, yeah,
right,
we boy Childish Gambino, aka Donald Glover, right, put out an album called 3/15/20, which was released on
right,
March 15, 2020, right? And I
right,
remember like really, really digging that album. I should say flat out loving it though. But I guess for me it's because, the world had shut down and it was like, well,
right,
we needed something to listen to make me feel happy, right? And it was that, right?
right.
And I am grateful that he was able to sneak in Feels Like Summer. So that's on that album, right? But the one thing about that record, though, is that it was unpolished, and later on you'll find out that it was kind of incomplete. You know what I mean? So yes, there was some mixing issues here or there. There wasn't really like any proper track names. It was just time sequence. You know what I mean? It was
Right.
weird, right? But that's how it is, right? So this year, like early this year, actually in May, he did a remix version of that album called Atavista. So what he did,
Right.
he actually like added a new song called Artificer. Actually, a really really solid song. My boy Ludwig Göransson came through with a really nice groovy 80s R&B vibe for it though. Ricardo listened to it, Joe. It's a vibe.
Right.
You'll love it, right?
Right.
And yeah, everything else from that previous record was there, right? And but what he did now, he just sort of retouched certain songs, kind of shortened some, stretch out others. With that little foot, Bigfoot, for example, he add the rap with young Nudie in the end, Nudie, whoever his name is in the end. And I thought that this version was a lot better than the one from before, and I thought that the video was kind of fantastic in my opinion, in a really dark,
Yeah, I love
Childish
the video.
Gambino kind of way. That's what it is, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but it was a nice reworking of that album from 2020, right? And I actually enjoyed it, right? But what surprised me though, 'cause remember the previous record came out in 2020, right? So here in Atavista now, which basically is a reworked version of that, I was kind of amazed at how experimental it was. Like I actually forgot about the experimentation this man was doing with genres and sound and all that kind of stuff now. And yeah, like when I listened to the 3/15/21, it felt a little scattered. It felt all over the place, right? And
Yeah.
Artificer is like that too, but it just felt a little bit more refined, a little bit more, well, I should say a lot more refined than that one, right? But still wildly experimental, right? So you could tell, yeah, this is the kind of vibe Donald Glover on, you know me, he not just doing R&B and funk and rap like what he's been doing back in the days. This man doing EDM and all kind of electro stuff. He just doing all kind of stuff, whatever he feels like doing, he does, right? So yeah, when that one Sunday, he ended up dropping a movie trailer for Bando Stone in the New World, which was this new movie that he was dropping, right?
Right.
And the thing is, this album is actually a soundtrack to that movie and also the final album to be released under the Childish Gambino moniker. Because we boy Donald Glover just gonna be calling himself Donald Glover from this point on.
Right.
He is done with the whole Childish Gambino bit, right? And
Yeah,
you
well,
see
we
that
are,
kind
we
of
are
play out
all
in
we
this.
are all we are all dong lovers, right? We are all dong lovers.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Dong lovers.
Yeah,
right?
we are. Exactly, right? Yeah, and you can kind of see that theme kind of play out here, right? But before I get to my thoughts on the album, right? Did you see the trailer for the movie?
No,
All right.
I don't see that.
Alright.
I saw the thing and then the new video, right?
All right. Well, in a nutshell, the trailer is an actual movie, right? But that's the weird thing about this album, right? But I'll get to that in a bit, right? And
Right.
it's Donald Glover playing Bando Stone, who is this singer, hip hop artist, whoever it is, right? And he finds himself in this weird place, and he runs into this woman, and I assume is her son, who is actually played by Donald's real son, Legend, right?
Right.
Legend Glover. And in the credits
Question,
he's called
is
Legend, which is weird. I don't know.
Yeah, question. Is that him in the Mombasa, Lady Smith Mombasa song?
Yes.
Right.
That is
okay.
him. That is him. That's
Right.
Legend.
Nice.
Right. I'll get to that in a
Right.
bit too, right? Yeah, and it's just basically they are on this island. Well, I should say, what seems to be like this deserted island, but they're seeing like prehistoric creatures. So you're seeing so in a nutshell, it's like this weird Jumanji, Jurassic World
Right.
kind of thing, and it's just all
Right,
these
right, right.
rampaging
Lost
creatures,
World.
Lost World kind of thing. But then you
Right,
realize, and there's like a great wide shot where they establish this, this world is not real. It's some sort of mechanical creation of some sort, right? And it's just these characters
more-
trying to survive. That's what it is.
It's more Truman Show than Land of the Lost. Okay.
Yeah. But because it's Donald Glover and it's coming off Atlanta, and if you know the style of Atlanta, it's going for absurdist humor as well. So there's some little absurdist, bits of absurdist humor here or there, right? But yeah, you know what I mean? I was surprised. Wait, man, dropping our movie, and then even interesting, this is going to be an IMAX exclusive release. Here's the problem though. No release date has been given as yet. None.
Okay.
So it's kind of funny that this man dropping this sound, which is basically a soundtrack to the movie, and we have no idea when this movie is coming out, right? And if I just have one gripe with the album, just to share my gripe with it though, I feel it's one of those albums that because is a soundtrack, right? And there are no surprise, there are audio bits from the movie itself, right? You hear those as little interludes. It involves Donald's son, Legend, and the actress, I forget her name right now, who is playing Legend's mother in the show. And it kind of sets up certain songs or whatnot, which I think is really cool, right? But I feel like if I see the movie, I will get the more context into what's being said and what's going on, right? Because sonically, there's a lot going on. He's playing with a lot of styles, musical genres. Particularly, there's more emphasis on pop and EDM though, more than hip hop and R&B in this, right? Which really surprised me. You know what I mean? Just right off the first track, Hearts Were Meant to Fly, which is the song that they play in the trailer, by the way, right? And just that as an opening song, that sonically is great though, especially with the synth keys, and then of course with the bass at brand, like it just kind of gets you hyped up now. And then Donald just going nuts over this. Well, you'll call him childish for now, right? Just going nuts with the just kind of just hyping up the just building the vibe of it. That's really what it is, right? But for me though, what kind of brings it down is just how insane the beat is. Like the beat is fine, but I just find like when everybody had to come in and sing though, or just kind of do some rap or whatever it is, it's kind of hard to understand what's being said because, and this is another gripe that I have with the record though. Yeah, just like Artivista and 31520, yeah, Childish has a way of always having to rely on digitally distorting his voice on certain tracks. So, sorry, like when you have something with like heavy bass, like this track here now, it's kind of hard to understand what's being said. It's even worse when your girl, Amarie, she's in this as well too. Yeah, she was on that track. Right. She's the one who does this kind of Jamaican patois bit. That's all I was saying. But And even I went up on Genius and they say unintelligible, Dread. I was like, oof, god damn.
Wow.
Because, yeah, I listened to this thing 4 times. I have no clue what this woman is saying. I have no clue.
Okay.
But the thing about this...
And it have nobody could translate that by now? How long
Nobody,
this thing come
Dread,
out?
it come out a few days ago. Like, what going on, right?
Yeah, well, I say that some Jamaican somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
And also, speaking of Jamaica...
I hope they don't do the fake patois thing. If they do that, that's like...
I hope not, right? But
I really hope
speaking
not,
of Jamaican, right? There's a blink and you miss it moment, right? I noticed it from the first listen, right? Where when the beat begins, you hear a sample, a vocal sample. And that's actually from Elephant Man of a little song called Elephant Message, which is from the Tivoli rhythm, which is one of the biggest dancehall rhythms of the 2000s. Bar none. You could not escape that shit. Sean Paul, Get Busy, right? Wayne Wonder, No Letting Go, full stop right there. But is what he says. That's in the intro to his song. It's like, this paraphrase, like, me don't know what kind of picnic game that is, or what kind of picnic game that... Basically talking about picnic game now. So I hear picnic and I'm thinking, oh, childish, picnic, child.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Right.
And I'll talk about that in a bit too, right? Yeah, and just touching on that whole child thing. So what I got from it, right, even though, again, I feel like I have to listen or I have to see the movie to get the full context. Even though I haven't seen the movie, I feel like what Donald is touching on here is where he's at in his life and his career, right? He's 40 now, you know, and with this film, I feel like...
He is definitely a millennial. He reminds me of this every time.
And as someone who is turning 40, boy, I know the feeling. And the feeling is on this album, and I assume the movie too is, like, trying to find that right spot now. Like, you know, like, what am I going to be doing this new era of my life, right? This new stage of my life, right? I'm an actor and people know me as an actor, you know what I mean? And I want to make shows, you know what I mean? I want to do, hopefully you'll get a next season of Mr. and Mrs. Smith, hopefully, I don't know. Maybe he'll be in it, hopefully, I don't know, we'll see. But he also wants to do the music thing, right? And if it's one thing about his career, right, you could tell like that was always like this kind of difficult balancing act for him, right? So he wants to do the acting, but he also wants to do the music, and you could tell like he's very serious about the music too, right? But he could act, right? And he's knocking when he do the acting thing, right? So I feel like this movie here is kind of like seeing the character of Bando Stone, right? Is kind of like just trying to find his way, right? He's trying to find his path, right? And this is why I think, this is why he wanted to change, the whole moniker from Childish Gambino to Donald Glover. It's like, he's 40 now. He ain't no kid no more. You know what I mean? So
them days done.
Yeah, them days done. So it's like so in other words,
it was stretching it 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So he wants to be an actor. He wants to be a singer, and he is a director. Okay, yeah, this is his I believe his directorial debut, right? So yeah, like the man want to be,
But he didn't direct thing. He didn't direct Love Island. But that was her.
It's probably is Hero. I think it's Hero Murai did that. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so he wants to be known for... Right, it's Hiro Murai. I just now saw it on Wikipedia, right? So yeah, he wants to be known as the guy who could do all these things, right? I mean, this is one thing that I just really envy this guy for, but I love him for this. Yeah. The man, like, just able to do all these things and be capable of doing all these things, And boy, I just wonder how this man able to do that and still raise a family, Dread. I don't know. I don't know, right?
He's rich. He has a maid. He has a babysitter. That's what
and he has connections. Right? So it's like that.
He has money. They pay other people for that shit.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so I could tell that this movie is going to be very personal to him, and then also this is going to be like a real big budget affair though. Like I'm not sure how expensive this movie is. Like I watch a few shots and it's like, you can fix the CG in that. But other than that though, like I know this is what you're getting at with it, right? So you could see glimpses of it in the album, right? Whether it's like the lead single Latonia, which is just basically this rock ballad of sorts, right? Primarily rock ballad as it is, right? And he's talking about, the character of Bando Stone, or at least the person who he really is. And the hook is, nobody gives a fuck, right? And I like that. Just that whole idea of, despite your fame and acclaim, nobody really cares who you are. and you would understand a character feeling like that for two reasons. One, because yeah, you kind of feel like shit inside, and two, he is in this, going back to the movie, this kind of weird post-apocalyptic situation. So it's like, oh, you know, the world may be coming to an end, so who's gonna care if I'm a singer or whatever it is? And that's like a theme that I saw come up in the trailer,
that's a nice take on the matter. The purpose of art in these scenarios on you know, how the world so bad, where you need artists for, and you know, you could justify that.
Exactly. And this has been something he's been touching on. Well, actually, I would say for a while now, since 315, right? Just basically, this whole idea of, you know what, I want to live a great life, and, you know, have a, you know, my family enjoying things, and I want to live the best life, but things change so much, and I don't know how to deal with it at times. It feel kind of weird, right? So you get like this track Survive, which is track 3, which features your girl, well, our girl, you know, Chloe Bailey, right? You know, she's in this as well.
Right, okay.
And this song actually really works though. And it kind of reminds me.
Donald Gumperton do. He didn't. What did he? Did he not produce the Swarm movie? Swarm TV series?
He did. Yes. I don't know if he directed any episodes. To be honest,
I can't remember.
But I know he created. Yeah. It also kind of reminds.
Well, so there's a connection, right?
Yeah, that track also reminds me of the track Time, which he did on 31520 and Alta Vista, right, which features Ariana Grande. It has a similar feel to it, right? Although this one is actually one of my favorite songs is so because of how it has this summery vibe to it, right? Even though there's a lot of uncertainty and doubt swimming through this track, right? Steps Beach is another great track as well. I love the acoustic guitar on this. Childish shows off just his great singing voice, though, you know what I mean? Like, I find that he has a great singing voice. And this one just feels so mellow and smooth, though, and kind of nostalgic and kind of sad at the same time, too, but it's a vibe, though. I could just rock back to this, right? Another thing that really interests me in this, though, is the unexpected references to Drake Way. Like, I didn't see that coming. Yeah. Because there's...
So, is pot shots to Drake or what?
I feel is that, right? I don't know if it had to do with the beef with Kendrick or what he said about Atlanta, or if it's something that happened before, right? They like I was on Genius, and they say it may have to do with something that Joe Budden see on the podcast talking about, you know, he find, like, if you were to compare, you know, like Donald and Drake together, he just find Donald
I saw
and stuff like that.
Yeah, I recently saw a post by we boy Randerson, and he made a great point. He's like, yeah, regardless how you feel about the Kendrick Drake this, because Kendrick is the bigger name, Joe Budden had the best disses.
Yeah.
To Drake. Like, by far. Like, dude, that shit was brutal, eh? But Joe Budden was big, he was not a big star. Drake outshined the thing, and he kind of blow past it. Much like how, you know, for lack of a better, we blow past the Pusha T stuff too, right? It's just the Pusha T stuff was such a damage. It started, you know, but like you needed somebody as big as Kendrick to hit it hard, you know, you need the momentum. However, Joe Budden, I still find is the most brutal, so like it could be that, yeah, okay, that sounds plausible.
Yeah. So I'm not sure what really started though, but like the song that people will really like take notice of, right? I don't know if you pick up on it, right? Is the track You Should Know, right? That to me is the best track on it. That is like pure hip hop. Like everything else is kind of hip hop, is kind of experimental. This one's pure hip hop, right? But like noticeably, just talking quick, is the flows, right? There's the cadences, very Drake inspired. The way how Donald flows in this, right? And if you like read the lyrics, or if you listen close to what you're saying, there's some pot shots laid, you know, towards Drake, right? But what he's saying kind of basically is like, you know what, like, look at me, I'm a family man, and I be responsible for my kids, and look at what it is you being accused of, right? You know, you can't even take care of your own son, you know what I mean? So that's where he going on that track thread, and he takes shots at other people, but like it real coded as well too, but I could tell just off that first alone that he was taking shots at I was like, wow. You know what I mean? It was hard, right? And I love and I love the instrumentation for this too. It have a beat switch you know, in the second half basically, but like both beats knock, right? And speaking of pot shots though, the track that follows, Can You Feel Me, which features Legend. I'll talk about the production in a bit, right? I feel like that is because he make one little jab at Drake, right? But I feel this was Donald subconsciously saying, oh, Drake, he was talking about, oh, your son was on a track, and it was just like a little verse at the end of your song tacked on. Here's why I gotta do a duet with my son, Hus.
And
I gotta do a duet with my son.
This is right, and I thought the kid is really talented. I was like, oh, you have a real good, really good singing voice. So there's another pot shot it could be at too is Kanye, because it is kind of shocking that they let Kanye's daughter do that shit.
Oh right, yes.
Remember that the other day? That was not that video, but remember she did the Lion King thing and completely embarrassed herself.
Oh right,
and
yeah.
A lot of people was bringing up like, yeah, why would you let the child do this? And there's a really insidious undertone of what's going on here, because they imply the working implication is that they do that shit for spite, just to embarrass her for material for the show later. Now, but I think that show or some version of it is still going on. I can't remember.
Right, but as I mentioned, Lion King, remember there was that 2019 remake which everybody asked for, which had Donald in it and Beyonce. So
Donald, as Sting. And
Donald was Simba. Adult Simba. Yeah.
And also Beyonce's kid is super talented too. Actually talented.
Yeah, sure.
It's a whole thing. Like the whole we get into the begun the Nepo baby wars have, right? So
yeah.
Right.
So I know it have some subtle stuff going on behind the scenes though, but the song is genuinely adorable, Joe. It's so endearing, right?
Right.
It's a nice father to son, song. That's what it is, right? But the sell for me though is the production, where you actually cited the name of the band itself, right? But I remember them from a sketch of a Sesame Street back in the 90s.
Yeah, African alphabet,
where they were doing the African alphabet, right? And they had Kermit doing the final verse, right? It's literally that same sample, that A, B, C, but how they work it into the song, I thought was great though. It's a really nice song, it's a really nice song. Again, a little distortion with the vocals here or there, little digital stuff here or there, but it's fine, right?
Right.
Also, just touching on sampling and whatnot, wasn't too big on the track Got to Be. This is where they actually take the Prodigy song Breed, which was like one of the biggest acid house songs of the late 90s. Like if you're a child in the late 90s, you know that shit. You know that shit, right? But yeah, they didn't really do much with the beat. Like it's the driving drum progression. What we know about it, the that's what it is. But they didn't really do much with it though. And again, just the distortion with the vocals, I could barely understand what the man's saying though, And it's real crazy wild shit that had nothing to do with nothing, it's just Donald wilding out. But other than that, it's just like why are we doing this? And like when I read the lyrics, it had stuff to do with like 2020 and when COVID and stuff like that. It was weird. I didn't really get, right? I do have some praise to give those hype tracks near the end of my review, right? But yeah, you know what I mean? And you get some nice little R&B cuts. So you have like the second single, In the Night, which features Georgia Smith and Amarie, who shows up in the last verse as well. That is a nice little bop as well too. That I especially dug the Afrobeat kind of melody as well too. That is a vibe. And that actually is the first video that came out of this album, by the way, right? And yeah, I mean, I should say from Can You Feel Me, right? That's where you see more of the theme of, you know what, we're in this jungle and we don't know what's going on and we need to survive, that kind of thing. You see it show up, whether it's through lyrics or whether it's through like just little bits of sampling or just sound effects in the background. Like you'll hear little jungle noises in the background, right? And stuff like that, right? And yeah, where it goes from there is cool. I didn't really dig Cruising. This features Yeet, the rapper. I find Yeet's verse was kind of lacking, to be honest. But just the passion that Donald put into that track, Cruising, you could feel it,
Yeet is a white guy, right? Or a light skinned fella?
Yeah, light skin, yeah.
He did Money for Fun. That Money for Fun. Because I only Money for Fun thing came. That was him. With Drake? I have not followed his work, to be honest. So they have a song, right? There's a song. So for a while, I forget how long. It was a few months ago where it had a meme where Drake doing Money for Fun, and they basically were the usual kind of slightly homophobic, making Drake look effeminate kind of thing was the meme for it. Look it up. So I think that's him, right? Is that the same guy? I'm not sure.
I'll have to look it up. I have to look it up, to be honest, right? Yeah.
Okay. Right. Well, let's type in Yeet Money for fun and see where you find.
Right.
You'll find a bunch of jokes and a bunch of I'm sure you'll find a bunch of memes and jokes on YouTube and TikTok about it.
Right.
That's all I remember about it.
All right.
No problem.
So let's wrap it up here, right? So there's a track "We Are God," which just the sentiment I get, but again, while I really love the beat for this though, very atmospheric, very cinematic. Again, just Donald drowning his vocals in reverbs is kind of hard to understand what he's singing.
Right.
And I get that. That's his style. That's what he's going for. But at times, it's like, I wish I knew what you were saying, bro, right? We have Running Around, which is like this nice little pop rock track. Pretty solid. Does what it's supposed to do. The Advocate that follows kind of touches on, just him talking about just the responsibilities of being a dad and how hard it is and whatnot. And again, I have a feeling that's going to show up in some way, shape, or form in the movie. We have what is primarily an instrumental called Happy Survival. It's this reggae cut, you know what I mean? This a reggae vibe, you know what I mean? And you just hear in the background, Happy Survival. And I feel like that's just meant to be ironic because of what the character's going to go through in this movie, right? And then it ends with A Place Where Love Goes, which is just this pure EDM anthem, you know what I mean? And just the instrumentation kind of reminds me of a Daft Punk kind of track, right? And just the beat of alone reminds me of like Kanye West's Stronger, just that kind of driving bass and all that kind of stuff, though, right? And just as a closing track, it works, right? It kind of drives the teams home and whatnot, right? So let's just wrap things up, right? So for me, as a album, as a farewell to Childish Gambino, and this is going to be Donald Glover reborn or whatnot, and as a soundtrack it works, right? Just sonically he's doing a lot here, you know what I mean? It's very versatile as far as the production goes, or I should say eclectic with it, right? At times it just feel like he's just kind of doing a lot, you know what I mean? Especially like when it comes to the more hyped up tracks and whatnot, right? But I will say, just going back to the soundtrack thing for a bit, I imagine like even songs that I wish that I really enjoyed more, like Hearts Were Meant to Fly or Got to Be or We Are God or whatnot, those songs will sound so epic, dread, on a booming speaker system in the IMAX or like a movie like if I see the film theatrically, that's the point I'm getting at, right? And I hear those songs pop up, I know them songs just gonna be like boom, and I'll just feel it in my bones, you know what I mean? So it's like that. So it's kind of like arena rock now, you know what I mean? It's that kind of Kanye arena style thing. Everything had to be grand and operatic in a sense, you know what I mean? That's what he's going for with this record, right? But I do like that there are softer songs, right? So whether it's like Real Love or Step Speech, I really love Step Speech. I really love Survive as well. Just those lighter cuts. Even No Excuses, I forgot to mention that, right? Just this really heartfelt song about heartbreak, right? That's really what it is, right? But just the vibe of it though, and just the sound of it though, really, really works, right? But yeah, you know what I mean? It's very, very ambitious, you know what I mean? But given where Donald is in his life though, I don't blame him for being ambitious. I don't blame him for swinging, you know what I mean? And for the most part, he swings, right? There's a few misses here or there, but he swings, right? But again, I just feel like if I saw the movie and then like hear the songs, I could be like, oh, okay, that's what, all right, that's what he getting at. Oh, you know what I mean? So that's the weird thing about this record. It's one of those things where the soundtrack come out way too early. And because we don't know when the movie's coming out, it's like, well, I had to kind of imagine.
Too much time pass, you kind of forget. Yeah.
So I had to imagine what's going on.
Or revisit the album to remind you.
Yeah, exactly. So just to wrap things up, so for me, I'm not in love with the record though, but I do like what Donald is doing here, right? And if this is like the closing chapter of his Childish Gambino era, then I have no problem with that, right?
My thing is that he can just call himself Gambino. Just drop your Childish.
Yeah,
Gambino's fine.
But he'll sound like a gangster, bro. And the man, he's a family man. Like, he'll tarnish his.
I don't know. Not so much. But my thing is not so much the gangster, but the mobster. As in, you can still have a family with a mobster like the Tony Soprano thing. I don't know.
Okay. I like that. Yeah.
However, and those bullshit ideas are not being hired.
Yeah. And for me, I never had any issue with the name Childish Gambino, right? So for me, it's kind of like, if Lil Wayne hits his 40s, will he still be calling himself Lil Wayne, right? Is like
exactly
that, right? But
right.
You might want to do this, right? But I feel the real reason is he wants to be known as the actor the singer and now the director. You know what I mean? He wants to be known as Donald Glover, the man of many talents, right? So that's what it is, right? So yeah, for me, rating wise, I'll give this a lighter, decent 4 out of 5, man. It's worth checking out. Just be prepared for just a wide array of styles and genres. So you're not just gonna get R&B and funk and hip hop. You're gonna get electronica. You're gonna get reggae. You're gonna get a whole bunch of stuff, right? But again, I feel like if I see the movie and hear the songs in the context of the movie, I'll be like, oh, okay, that's what they're getting at. Oh, that's what. All right. But like on its own, it kind of works as, okay, this is Donald saying, you know what, here's what, in a new stage of my life, I'm a family man, I want to do more things now, and this is just like the new chapter of my life, basically. That's really what it is, right? And I mean, like right out the gate, just having his son be in the movie and on the album, right? So it's like that, right? So yeah. Yeah, so if you're a fan of Childish Gambino, of Donald Glover, formerly known as Childish Gambino, yeah, give this album a listen, right? But again, if you're just lastly, if you kind of like your albums to be kind of straightforward and not playing around with different genres, then you probably wouldn't like this. If you're not open to experimentation, you'll find this to be kind of all over the place. But I get used to that now. You know what I mean? I would say I've gotten used to that since 3:15:20, right? This him playing with a whole bunch of styles, right? I'm used to that by now. But I would say if you need to prepare yourself, check out that or Atavista, which is out right now as well, right? So yeah, that's all I have to say.
Nice.
But I talk long about it though, but I know you listened to it once, so what were your thoughts on it first listen? And now knowing that there's a movie coming up for it, what do you think? What do you think you'll expect from it now? You know?
Yeah, no, this was an interesting kind of a conceit. I didn't know he'd bring out that kind of stuff. But yeah, the big, as I said, the highlight was the track with his son. I was just, this is son, this kid real talented too. Like I don't know if he coach him or he make sure they sit down and make sure they get the thing right, and they look, there's a real dark reference, but he gets some Joe Jackson thing and slave drive him into making sure that shit real good. But that boy talented, like, and that boy is a potential future. Like this kid is kind of the future. I really, really hope we get to see more from him, and such a young age, right? People just keep talking about how kids can do this or that, but when you put them in the right spot and the right context, they really, really work. And I thought that kid was great. That was like the big highlight for me. The album, I'll admit, I just listened to it once, kind of skimmed through it. I was listening to a couple of tracks, but I was very impressed with as it is. What it was as it is. So yeah, I'll have to give it a right, and as I say, I'd walk with it. I find walk with it, I ain't gonna. So that's about it.
Yeah. And lastly about the movie now. They say it's coming out in 2024. I do hope that we get it really soon. The issue I have with it though is that it's coming out through it's from the production company Gilga, right? I'm not sure if this is Donald's production company. But like I feel just the style of the show alone, it have a 824 vibe to it though. So the point again that is with the release date, I don't know if the plan is to put it out before year's end, so it could possibly get an Oscar nom. Possibly. Okay. I don't know, right? Because I imagine there'll be some enough like uniqueness to it that somebody could look at that and be like, we could kind of nominate that for like a best original screenplay or something. I don't know, maybe not a soundtrack, but something like that. You know what I mean? So I don't know if that's the intention, but I do hope that we get it by year's end, because just putting out this album and then seeing the movie coming out and it'll come out this year, that'll be weird. You know what I mean? But I will keep my eyes and ears open for when that movie comes out, right? But yeah, Ricardo, when you get a chance, check out the trailer. It's really interesting.
Sure.
At the time of us recording this, Latonia will be coming out. The video will be coming out tomorrow, so can't wait to see that. And Indian Night is out right now, so at least to get an idea of what's going on, right? So that's it.
Nice.